Jarne Elleholm worked in finance for Lundbeck, one of Denmark's largest pharmaceutical companies, before coming to INSEAD in 1994. He later became CEO of Lundbeck UK, joined a biotech startup, and became a venture capitalist. Welcome to Alumni Experience, Jarne. You came here, I think, with the goal of moving into general management. Did you achieve that?
Although I did get a number of other offers after INSEAD, I got an offer from my old employer, and I went back to them. I went back into my finance role, had a year or a bit over a year in Paris as finance director, and after that I got offered the general management role. So it took a little bit of time, but I got there.
You were appointed to be CEO of one of Lundbeck's largest subsidiaries, which was in the UK, and I think things went pretty well there.
Yes, you can say that, because we grew the turnover from about 20 million pounds to in excess of 100 million, and that was pretty nice. And we had very good support from the management, the senior management, the CEO in Denmark, that allowed us to make the necessary investments. We grew the sales force, we strengthened the marketing team, we made everything work well together. When you have the right products and you have the right tools, you have the financial backing, at least that period of time, it was really a joy to go out there and find the best way, but it took a lot of time and effort and a lot of committed people. And I think one of the things that also made the big difference was we brought a different kind of culture into that environment. We had reps who were sales representatives that were super dedicated and just went out there with the Lundbeck ethos and the Lundbeck way of thinking. And I think that made a big difference in the way that we approached the market.
How was the experience of general management when you actually got there?
Well, that's where I learned a lot. Personally, I took a lot with me in terms of management. I had some brilliant managers reporting to me, both in terms of sales, marketing, clinical, finance, HR, each with their strengths. It benefited me personally tremendously.
After 17 years at Lundbeck, you made a leap, you joined a competitor, and then I think you joined a biotech startup.
Arisa, yes, that was a Danish biotech. That's where I went from big companies into small companies. I was partly also a business angel investor in that company, and then there were 3 people in the company at that time, and as part of investor in that, I went to the chairman and said, well, let me try and see if I can sort things out within an IPO on a small stock market in Copenhagen, and we raised 55 million Danish kroner and got the project on the run.
So the idea, I think, was to bioengineer plants to detect unexploded mines, which is incredibly clever if it works.
It was, and it did work, and it was extremely clever. And it was a brilliant scientist who had re-engineered a plant so that it would change color from green to red if it detected the substances that are associated with mines that actually leak from mines in the soil. We had to shoot these small seeds out of a water cannon with the speed faster than any tennis player can hit a ball to hit the other side of a football field and have it planted there. It was putting the plant under extreme stress, and they became too small to really make the impact that we wanted. So the system had to be transferred over to a much more robust plant. And then sort of we went from getting ready to go commercial, and we went back into the lab.
In biotech and pharma, is it okay to fail?
It is well known that a lot of projects do fail. So yes, it is allowed. Less so in Denmark with that attitude, but in the US or to a degree also in the UK, it is well known that you have projects that you wanted to have tested. It looks good in the labs, it looks good in the early stages, but it's not until you have the real proof in the real patients in big populations that you know whether it works or not. So yes, you have a lot of failure, but you have to work with it, and then you have to work with how do you mitigate the risk, how do you identify earlier on whether it's going to work or not, so that you don't spend too much money in a given focus area. And in the case of the landmine plant, you have to get it into a real context with real landmines to see whether it works or not. That's where you can make the judgment.
You then joined a VC company, and when we chatted earlier, you said that was joining the dark side. What did you mean?
In Europe, we do not have that strong evidence, at least not in the life sciences area, that the venture capital model works. Because we work on a 10-year horizon, so we have funds which are usually 10 plus a potential extension of 2. But some products just take longer time to mature. And that means that if you don't have consistency between your investors, you get sort of problems in between the investors and the founders. And if the founders don't add value in the later part of the development phase, they get diluted to a degree where they're not always happy. That's why I call it a dark side.
You've stayed in the same industry, Jarne, but you've made some big changes. What's your career advice?
I think in terms of advice on the career side of it, is for those who are starting up with a career and look at it, take the chance, make a change. It can be tough when you go from something which is very comfortable, but if you're in your comfort zone, then you know it's about time to change. Because if you're an INSEAD alumni, you have the capacity and the capability to go out and challenge yourself. So that would be my advice. Go out and challenge yourself in your own way. And if it doesn't work out, then make a change again. Don't be afraid. Just go do it.